Okay, so I'm pretty sure we've all either seen, played, or grown up with Angry Bird. Especially the original game, the remixes of the original, or bad Piggies. Maybe you've even played all of the games, including the new ones. It is pretty sad in my opinion how the new games have gone as far down as being bad. Hopefully Sega makes sure that Rovio gets their act together, but it's a recent purchase and we should only wait. The most I hope for is the old games to be re-released. The only issue though is that they did that with the original Angry Birds games and yeah. So, if you're like me and liked Angry Birds a lot, you'd have seen a lot of things, especially on YouTube. Like the old videos, which are, do they even need an explanation? And this includes Angry Birds Toons, and yeah, we've got to our point now. To summarize, this series is basically minute-long episodes of goofy shenanigans with the birds, the pigs. So I thought to myself, what if I ranked all of them? And that's what I did a bit ago. I made a text file ranking all the episodes, and here we just go, Yahoo! Also, this was inspired by RT6, special thanks to him. Episode 1, Chuck Time. First one in already, somebody almost dies. So basically, Chuck the Goobird gets the iconic Shing shot, which almost falls, and then Chuck commits a crime. He kills Red in the most Looney Tunes way. Anyways, he uses the power of Speed Act to, you know, save Red, and then puts water into a wooden, kid pool kind of thing, I guess. Sitting here say this being a cartoon, Red would probably die because A, you can't jump into water at 10,000 meters in the air because that's like jumping into concrete, and B, the wood would probably do the effect as the water, so great choice on Chuck's end. He just killed his friend. Then Chuck forgets how to turn off Speed Hack and finds out that Red is about to die still. And then he just uses himself as a safe trampoline and Chuck dies. Just kidding, he's still living. So this is a great introduction for this series. I like the fact that Chuck fails to realize Red is falling from the right instead of the left. Near the top of the left for certain. Episode 2, Where's My Crown? Good second episode for an introduction of the pigs. And we see that King Pig's diet consists of garbage collected from Los Angeles, and he eats the plate. So he goes to get food that looks not like trash, but the dumbass loses his crown and is treated like ass. Can I just mention how goofy King Pig looks without his crown? So he gets denied food and finds out he lost his crown. And when he tries to get it, he fails at actually getting it. So then the idiot just gets dumped into where the garbage is stored. And guess what? His identity is revealed. So overall, I think this episode is good. I love how the music just goes down and pitch when it's revealed it will be no crown. Going in a solid position near the middle because I personally prefer other episodes when I made the list a bit ago. Episode 3, Full Metal Chuck. Basically, the Blues are lazy as hell and Chuck wants to do exercise or tricks or probably stunts, I don't know, and forces the Blues to do those things. So the Blues do it, I guess, better than him. I think Extreme makes more sense though. So Chuck the dumbest decides that slingshotting himself with the stupidest gear possible is a good idea. And that's the episode, and I think it's bad. You can't root for either side since both are irritating. Chuck is forcing the Blues to you know already, and the Blues are just annoying. And the episode I personally also kind of find boring. It just doesn't hit as hard as some others. Going to the bottom. Episode 4, Another Birthday. So basically, Pig has birthday. And holy shit, could you imagine the claustrophobic pigs? Jesus Christ, when will they consider their opinions? Anyways, the pig with birthday is ignored the entire time, and keeps getting distracted by the thought of cake, and dies. Then he finds a cake, which King Pig just eats for himself. So he's just soda, but then he gets cake, so good ending. Okay, this episode is just boring. Low position. Episode 5, Egg Sounds. So Red protect Egg, and then Egg talk, but in reality the Blues are just doing a little trolling. So Red brings along Chuck and Matilda, and he shows them the egg sounds, and Matilda changes the eggs to be like her, but Chuck decides to change the eggs to be like him. So then it's just a competition to who can make the eggs more like them. And they all just go on math and create an eldritch being. Then they found out it was just the Blues trolling, so they troll him back. So to be honest, this episode isn't terrible, it's just mediocre. I don't hate it, I don't like it. Close to the bottom middle, but not like the other two. Episode 6, Pig Talent. They be referencing the America Got Talent show, not gonna lie. The plot here is extremely simple. It's a talent show. This in my opinion comes down to the jokes, and I like the pig pretending to be King Pig and being a dumbass, and the balloon pig getting dropped to hell at the end, and the guy who gets confetti into his trumpet. But I think this one's boring, getting a low spot. Episode 7, Cordon Bleu, or wherever the shits you say that. So even Matilda is terrible at cooking. Anyways, yes, she's cooking food. Meanwhile, free pigs, I don't know why you'd get free instead of a lot of them, but yeah, they're trying to get the eggs. So Red eats shit and kills a fly, and then Chuck gets it and dumps it at a tree, which kills the tree and one of the pigs indirectly. Then the Blues also get nuclear radiation, can't decide who gets it, so they slingshot it all the way over to some boulders, and that boulder then kills another pig. Again, indirectly. See what I mean when they said you should have gotten more than 3 pigs? So nobody likes Matilda's food, and she decides to dump it into the pit, where it then gets Corporal Pig. Yes, I know his name. And because of episode 2, we all know that pigs like garbage. So to be honest, I wasn't expecting to like this episode as much as I did. I love how everything the birds do indirectly affects the pigs somehow. Middle of the row. Episode 8, True Blue. Guys, is Chef Pig the guy himself? So his master plan is to get a pig disguised as one of the Blues to fool them. And yes, this is probably what Piggy McCool is based off from Epic. So anyways, they do some stunts and who I'm going to call Piggy McCool fails horribly at them. Chef Pig, meanwhile, is just waiting for him to get the eggs. And I just love this image of him. And it's revealed that the Blues knew he was a pig the whole time. It's pretty simple for a plot and kind of boring. Middle of the list. Episode 9, Do As I Say. Ooh boy, so Matilda, who's just chilling, gets annoyed at the Blues for being the Blues. And the Blues keep on pissing Matilda off with their stunts, you know. And then the pigs just yoink the eggs. So Matilda gets the eggs back to where they were, and the Blues disapprove, and this episode sucks. It is just boring, and the Blues are annoying the whole way through. It's also not a joke that made me laugh. I get it, it's a kids show, but I'm nostalgic and I want to review stuff from a new lens. Worst episode by far. Episode 10, Off Duty. So Red protects the eggs 24/7, and Matilda makes him take a break and go on vacation. So Chuck, the Blues, and Bomb are used as replacements for Red. But guess what? They're terrible at protecting. So Red arrived at where he's going to stay at. Meanwhile, the other 3, or I guess 5, still suck at protecting eggs. And guess what? King Pig decided to get an actual army to catch the eggs. Finally, he's not a moron. So anyways, Red is having an existential crisis as everything he sees is just the eggs. So he shits himself and realizes the eggs are gone and all of the above have been destroyed. Then Red just gets the eggs back easily. Goddamn any percent speedrunner. I really enjoyed this episode. Red having a crisis over eggs was the highlight for certain. Top of the list, don't need to say it. Episode 11, Slingshot 101. Red gets pissed at the Blues. The pigs, meanwhile, are hiding in a totally not fake bush. For eggs, of course. So Red gets kinda pissy, and the Blues are not using the slingshot properly. So Red shows them how to actually use it, but then he notices the pigs and dies. I don't know how many more times I can get away with this joke. So Red decides to get into battle because he thinks the Blues are getting completely destroyed. But plot twist, the pigs were trash at fighting, and now they've been launched into the stratosphere. Usual episode that I'm not too big on. Episode 12, Thunder Chuck. So Chuck actually dedicates time to protecting the eggs. And well, the pigs tried the same goddamn trick as last episode. When will they learn not to be stupid? And Chuck is fucking terrified of lightning. After having lightning get close to striking my house a couple times, I understand his fear. This fear starts interfering with him protecting the eggs. So the pigs got the genius idea of making fake lightning to make Chuck piss himself, and he falls for it and digs a hole for himself. The pigs then start torturing him intentionally, but the pigs get karma and get struck by lightning multiple times, mind you. So Chuck beats up Corporal and Egg save. Usual stick, good episode, and Red gets struck by lightning at the end, top of the list. Episode 13, Gardening with Terrence. Matilda likes gardening, fairly unsurprising I must say. But then the biggest bird of all, Terrence, appears and nukes the garden. Matilda tries to get him off her property and fails. This is similar to the Roadrunner shorts where Matilda tries to get Terrence off her property, similar to the coyote trying to catch the Roadrunner. So Matilda's sad until she gets a new idea. She makes Matilda her garden. Okay, now spare me for this, but this episode is not gold. I find it just boring. It's a bottom. Episode 14, Doki's on a rope. Okay, before I even start talking about the episode, I need to mention this. Basically, episodes 1 till 13 had a different art style and character designs, unlike going forward. So note that to yourself. Anyways, the pig's master plan is to use a rope to catch the eggs and go back up. The first one fails to Red, who destroys him. Chuck then replaces Red, and the pigs use a mirror to make his ego go through the roof. Keep this in mind for a certain later episode. Anyways, the plan fails because Chuck notices the pigs. Chuck then gets replaced by the Blues, so the pigs give them a ball, and Corporal Pig joins in. Turns out the Blues did so much trolling that they took control of the machine. So now the pigs are stuck in a contraption I forgot the name of. I enjoyed this one. Episode 15, Trojan Egg. Y'all ever heard of the Trojan Horse? Probably because it's popular. Anyways, King Pig is woken up by Chef Pig, who shows him a fake egg he made. Their plan is to make it a sign of peace, I think. Okay, editing me, reading the script. I think it's more likely just a ploy to trick them into giving the eggs to it. But Red and Chuck catch on and send it to Pig City. Can you see the parallels between the story of the Trojan Horse and this? Anyways, they start partying, and I love how King Pig is literally being cooked alive. Chef Pig notices, and this is actually the first time we see his ulterior motives. See, he wants to be the king. Why? I'll just assume because then he'd be able to eat the eggs. But then the Trojan egg explodes and King Pig is launched, so Chef Pig isn't able to actually start his plans since King Pig just takes the crown again. I really enjoyed this episode, getting a really good spot. Episode 16, Double Take. So the Blues and Matilda again. Last time it didn't work out, but anyways. The Blues accidentally make themselves look like the eggs and the real eggs are thrown off cliff. However, the pigs decide to steal the eggs, while some pigs pretending to be the eggs are there but fail to fool Matilda. But those pigs find the actual eggs. So now it's a chase between Matilda and the fake eggs known as the Blues and some of the pigs. But then the pigs with the real eggs show up and confuse Matilda. And yeah, this is essentially a better Matilda Blues episode. Middle of the list. Episode 17, Crash Test Piggies. Bad Piggies, here we go! So the way I see this is that this is military training, which we're going to see later on, but for now here. So this is what it'd be like if you were training to get the eggs as a pig. And everyone fails until one guy manages to do it. The one who's been pissing himself this entire time. So he succeeds in one thing, but then he puts the entirety of Pig City on fire. Get this guy an arson charge. Nice episode, like some of the jokes, not myself. Episode 18, Slappy Go Lucky. First appears of Professor Pig and Foreman Pig. So Foreman Pig over here finds Professor Pig's document to make crack, and he makes a machine to beat the hell out of all the birds. Which I mean should work, and it does. He beats up 2 out of the 3 pigs with hats of Red, Chuck, and Bomb. However, his machine then breaks, and he loses control, in which the machine takes King Pig and starts beating his ass. Literally! And then Foreman Pig dies in a volcano, and then King Pig is a basketball, and the machine just breaks completely. The Foreman Pig no longer has a mustache. Press M for mustache. This one had some good jokes for my taste, so it gets a like from me. Episode 19, Sneezy Does It. There's a national parade for King Pig, and one guy is extremely excited. And then he trips with the guy with pink lemonade, which makes the thing crash. And then King Pig is sad. Seriously though, his crying is hilarious. And then the dude gets sent to Brazil. And the dude who is extremely excited is forced to be the fourth wheel. He must now go up the stairs of infinity. And the guy has a bee piss him off. He eats it, but in reality he gets stung and launches King Pig down the stairs. Again, King Pig's crying here is too funny. Anyways, he gets launched to the void. Another good episode. I enjoyed this one. Episode 20, Run Chuck Run. Welcome to Chuck having an extreme ego. Anyways, he's in a race, and again, he just has an ego, which is kinda annoying, but Terrence saved this episode. I just love him appearing and jump scaring Chuck, so Terrence is kinda just ahead of Chuck the entire time. And Chuck ends up last, karma may I say. Fine enough episode, taking a low middle position. Episode 21, Hypno Pigs. Red Protect Egg. I swear the audience is going to get tired of me mentioning that. Anyways, the pigs decide to hypnotize Red into sleeping. So yeah, the strategy was very effective. But then they decide to start gaming using his body. Not joking. Then they send it to the place of non-existence. Then Red just crashes into them anyways, so I'd episode in my opinion. Episode 22, Eggs Day Out. Red being pissy over Leif and having an egg fall is a very Red thing. And then he falls down a waterfall. And some of these pigs don't notice the bird and or the egg on their track. Then construction area, and hell, it even uses the bong sound effect, so we witness more military training, so it ends up getting back. I enjoy how everything is just a dumb sequence of events conveniently happening. Wouldn't call it a favorite, but good nonetheless. Episode 23, Gate Crasher. Chuck versus a goddamn door! The matchup everybody has been waiting for. Chuck just keeps trying to get through the door unsuccessfully, so he does a gamer and uses the slingshot for as far as he can. And he just destroyed all of Pig City. The battle then continues, middle of the list. Episode 24, Hog Roast. More Pig City lore! Guy doesn't know how to use a grill. So the fire department is called into action, which includes Foreman Pig. I love this 1940s parody, which changes to color. But then they accidentally burn a public toilet, and Foreman Pig, the idiot, sits on the water hose, which then goes to a house, and then one guy has his hat on fire, and he just burns down the entire house, and now all of Pig City is burned down. This episode is great. I love the escalation of everything burning down, and that ending is pretty nice, getting a top position. Episode 25, The Bird That Cried Pig. I'm not even going to point out what this title is referencing, you just have to figure it out. So Chuck is jealous of Bump because he's getting all the recognition. Remember, Chuck wants to be recognized since he has an ego, so he then gets the genius idea of hiding away the eggs while everyone is sleeping and pretending they've been captured by the pigs. But the pigs actually get the eggs, and now Chuck actually has to beat them. It's nice to see the speed act powers from episode 1 back. So he manages to get the eggs with trips and Bomb gets them, and he gets all the credit now. Enjoyable enough. Episode 26, Ham Shack Redemption. I hate to interrupt, but we're only halfway through season 1, so prisons in this world exist. Should be unsurprising, but anyways, this dude over here tries to escape. First plan, try to go up but fails. Second plan, go through the sewer, in which he just ends up in a different cell and caught. Third plan, go under using a spoon, but Terrence jump scares him. So all scenes failed until the big guy crashes through the roof and leaves behind his propeller. So he actually escapes. Nice episode, middle position. Episode 27, Green Pig Soup. New master plan by the pigs, disguised as cabbage. For some reason, Angry Birds Toons is going to use cabbage more in future episodes, so the pigs shit themselves after seeing what Matilda does to another cabbage. One guy then almost gets caught but hides in a pumpkin instead. Then they jump, revealing their identities, the idiots that they are. Great plan we got, top middle of the row episode. Episode 28, Catch of the Day. They've once again got a new idea. Shoot a plunger to get the eggs. So the Blues, noticing the plunger, decide to do more trolling. Everything they catch is just some random item. Purple decides on the biggest plunger of them all, which hits Terrence. So that went great on his end, huh? Episode 29, Nighty Night Terrence. 2 episodes involving Terrence? We got a streak. Terrence sleepy and pigs try to get egg. So this episode is them trying to have Terrence stay asleep. They use a bungee jump, plungers, blah blah, and almost die. No, seriously. I don't have much else to saved for this episode. Episode 30, Piggy Wig. The Blues are just goofing around while King Pig finds a wig that he likes. So he just changes his wig constantly. And then one of the Blues gets struck by lightning. And now it's King Pig's wig. Then he reads the, I guess, Constitution of Pig City. But the blue on his head is just trolling by making dumb facial expressions. And the other two burst in and just beat up everyone. Then King Pig laughs at how stupid everyone looks. Not terrible episode. Episode 31, Pig Plot Potion. Chef Pig is back at it again. So he's making Walter White meth, which turns things into pigs. He decides to use it against Red, which is actually a genius plan. Then they get the eggs and start cooking, but the meth isn't permanent as seen by the snail. And Chef Pig ran out of meth. Good plan, terrible execution. Also, Chef Pig is a snail now. Don't ask. Getting a position. Episode 32, Tooth Royal. King Pig has got a tooth which looks terrible, so the entire thing is trying to get the tooth out of his mouth using different contraptions. So everyone else just loses their tooth instead. It gets a bit extreme with their plans. Also, this is their goddamn flag, got the eggs on it. Then the final plan is to have King Pig beat up by the bird, which happens to work a little too well. Like I said in my note, the dental service sucked here. I like the episode for no reason. Episode 33, Night of the Living Pork. First Halloween episode. King Pig has a throne of candy because it's selfish. The zombies are involved because of course they are involved. It just couldn't be a spooky episode without zombies. King Pig is kinda just being under a table, and Bubbles is in here. We actually barely see him. Besides for the Halloween episodes. Then they win, I guess. Fine enough episode. Episode 34, King of the Cast. King Pig is just making castles on the beach, but Chef Pig makes castles as well, which then makes King Pig decide to make a competition. Chef Pig keeps besting him, so King Pig retaliates. Then they work overtime to make an insanely well-made sand castle, but then a goddamn tsunami kills it, and the competition continues with fishing. Good episode. Episode 35, Love is in the Air. Remember me talking about cabbage? Well, what the hell? So King Pig gets terminal brain damage and thinks the cabbage is a woman. Then he proposes to it. What is this episode? The reaction from Corporal explains it all. But then King Pig gets hit again and just eats the cabbage. I don't even know what this episode was. Lower position. Episode 36, Fired Up. I note apparently this episode is drawn like the first 12. It is very cold, unlike current times. Chuck tries to help but is stupid. Matilda actually helps, though Chuck uses a magnifying glass to heat the eggs up, but then he gives up. And the fire is sentient. It literally chases after them. So Chuck just covers the glass in a blanket. Wasn't so hard now, you dingus. Nice episode. Episode 37, Clash of Horns. I'm sorry, I'm just thinking of Clash of Clans. I'm pretty sure that's the reference. This episode is corn. Bomb apparently likes corn. The entire plot is just Bomb trying to get corn and Matilda not making him get it. I found this one just a middle of the row episode. Episode 38, A Pig's Best Friend. King Pig gets one of the Blues as a pet. I'm not mentioning what they do on the regular at this point. I honestly don't have much to say except I'm not a fan. Bottom. Episode 39, Slumber Mel. Average wood guy! Sleeps in a separate house, so they are more than those from the 4th episode, I remember. There some idiots make a road over his house, which causes obvious issues. Apparently God's no sleep, so. Also, that axe is extremely dangerous, may I say. Then he gets the genius idea of cutting wood with axe, and he makes a mountain. Me enjoy me like. Episode 40, Jingle Yells. Christmas exists in this universe. That's a revelation. It's a fake Santa, known as Corporal, tries to get the eggs. The Blues, however, think he's actual Santa. At least it seems like it. Yeah, then they figure out he's Corporal. King Pig thinks Santa got him a giant egg. An actual Santa exists. That could imply humans exist in this universe, but now I'm bullshitting. Don't hate, don't like. Episode 41, El Portador. It's at this point I'm questioning why I'm even making a video about an angry Virgill. But here we are. All you need to know is that we got the parents of the pigs who gets beaten by tyrants. Honestly, El Portador is quite powerful. Should be used more in the pig strategy. Somewhere on the list. Episode 42, Hiccups. Usual day for the bird, and the Blues acquire hiccups. So it starts getting annoying to the bird. So they use different plans to get it out of them, which fail miserably. And the one that works is extremely lame. game. Mid-episode. Episode 43, the butterfly effect. Not referring to that one term used for minor things causing major things, but about actual butterflies. So the pigs got another plan. I swear they cook very often. They make a fake butterfly and somehow trick Matilda. Then the thing just breaks. Matilda passes out because you know it looked like it was dead. Then Corporal the Bringle can for a brain messed up. Fine enough. Episode 44, Hambo. More military episodes. So we got training for this entire episode. We get this one guy named Hambo. Everybody except him fails. So now they actually do an operation with him, which seems to work out really well. Party begins, and turns out he got a rock instead of an egg. So all he wanted was the cake, which was pretty smart. Pretty standard episode. Episode 45, Bird Flu. The Blues have once again fallen to another disease. So the pigs use this as an opportunity, which I mean good planning, but one guy is now infected, so everyone should have thought of more of that. Close point of King Pig managing to eat the eggs. This one's boring. Episode 46, Piggies from the Deep. It is goddamn summer, and we got some trolling going on here. They decide to trick Foreman Pig into thinking that there's sharks in his pool. Side note, sharks don't actually target humans. They only go after them because from their perspective it looks like a sea animal. Foreman finds out they were just trolling. Then they both decide to troll in the entire swimming pool, which works. They hide and everyone thinks Foreman was the one who did a little trolling. This is probably my favorite episode from season 1. Am I biased? Yeah, everyone on this goddamn planet is. So yes, this takes the #1 position. Episode 47, Oh Gnome. Chuck finds a gnome toy and gives it to Matilda. Matilda then tries to get rid of it, but keeps getting found out by Chuck. And that's the entire episode. Also, Chuck becomes the gnome at the end, middle position. Episode 48, Shrub It In. This shrub is a main character. A character so important, it had to have its own episode. Yeah, the Bombs and the Blues nuke Matilda's bush, so they have to find a new one. Bomb decides on the bush at Pig City. The Blues are just distracting Matilda, and it works out, but one pig still was there. Fine enough. Episode 49, The Truce. The Piggill, yeah! He is slowly becoming my favorite Angry Birds villain. So he offers a truce just like the title implies. However, he's also tricking the birds intentionally by having two pigs attempt to catch the eggs. I really enjoy the joke of them almost getting caught twice. He then attempts pig sleeping sauce on them, but this only works on pigs as we can tell from him beating one of the things. Then the birds decide to disguise them as the cells and trick the military training people into shooting them. And it works! Really cool episode. Episode 50, Operation Opera. Foreman Pig decides to take a crack at getting the eggs by tricking Matilda with a fake bird, which works out great. However, the guy doing the voice eventually passes out. Foreman Pig tries but fails miserably. Yeah, so that was an episode. Episode 51, Chucked Out. Chuck is doing some ultimate gaming tricks, but he goes a bit far with a rock, which nukes everything by the other birds. Chuck gets kicked out for being a major dumbass, hence the title, but come on, they can't be clickbaiting us. So Chuck becomes a hobo. He even gets a beard, which feels weird to know. So anyways, the pigs then blow the joint by getting the eggs. Chuck then beats them. So he's now back. There's no reason why I should like this episode. I just really do. Episode 52, Bombs Awake. Can you believe it? We've made it to the end of the season 1. Anyways, episode is about the Blues and the Bomb. Bomb is sleepwalking the entire time, and anytime he touches anything, he nukes it. And this becomes dangerous when he gets the eggs. So the Blues' goal is to make sure he and the eggs don't die. Standard episode feels odd for a final episode of a season, but this is a goofy Angry Birds cartoon, so I'll let it slide. Can you believe it? We're only one season through. Don't worry everyone, it was the longest one. And the next two are 26 episodes each. Half of this season's episode count, and season 1 was literally half of this entire show. So let's go on to season 2. Episode 1, Treasure Hunt. Tempo's back at it again. Weird that they brought him back this quickly, but I don't mind. So like this title says, this is about a treasure hunt which goes all over the place. Tempo is literally everywhere. So then he manages to get to the actual area. He comes back and turns out he just got the marking of the location, but now he's considered a great explorer, I guess. A good episode to start off. Episode 2, Sweets of Doom. We're already at the second spooky episode. It involves King Pig and Bubbles again. Seems like King Pig remembers the last time, who knows? Then it becomes a chase over some random candy. King Pig finds some odd candy, which turns him into some sort of tentacle monster. Then he's beaten by having his tentacles entangled. And now he dropped the octopus candy, and yeah, everybody basically just turns into that. It is a literal middle position. Episode 3, Party Ahoy! King Pig plans on going to a very special place which he misses out on any boat, so he decides to get Foreman Pig to help. I don't blame him for wanting to go there. Anyways, the episode is about trying to get there with different boats, which end up not working. Even the big one fails. So King Pig decides to swim over there. He actually manages to do it, however it's the wrong island. But then the island's volcano goes up and everyone on there probably dies. Great episode, I must say. Episode 4, Hide and Seek. Truck and the Blues play what was mentioned in the title. Truck figures them out pretty easily, so Truck is now hiding and decides on a tree thing, which ends up terribly on his end when it starts raining and he's stuck in there. Then he gets blasted out of there, which looks like he fell from the goddamn moon. So the Blues think that. It is a fine episode, but I prefer others. Episode 5, Sink or Swim. So fun fact, this is the highest rated episode on IMDb, which I disagree with, but I'm getting ahead of myself. Red does not know how to swim, so sinks every time he tries. I just have to mention this fish, which I don't find funny. Again, I know it's just a cartoon and it doesn't have to be funny. However, then the pigs decide to kayoink the eggs, so Red learns how to swim. I personally think this one is the worst episode of season 2. It's really emotionless, which I made up, but basically what I mean is that I don't feel anything when watching this, which is just disappointing. Literal bottom. Episode 6, Super Bomb. Bomb wishes to be a superhero, just like a book he's reading. Though I wouldn't say the stuff he does is heroic, more so just stuff anyone could do. Then the pigs, once again, yeah, you know at this point. Bomb attempts to stop them, but remember the one line from The Incredibles saying no capes? Yeah, that screws him over. So the pigs actually manage to get the eggs successfully. However, he explodes and gets them. However, then his cape gets destroyed. The birds then turn it into a hammock. Pretty good, I'd say. Middle of the list. Episode 7, Just So. What a title. Red finds a place for the eggs, and the pigs are just hiding behind a bush. I swear these guys use bushes more than you'd expect. Red really likes consistency, so anything off to him, he just fixes. This scares the pigs every time. However, he destroys the entire tree's leaves, leaving behind a giant bush in which the pigs are technically invisible. So they took the eggs for themselves. Then Red turns them into a fountain. Bottomer since boringer. Episode 8, The Miracle of Life. Everyone is the saxophone episode. So Foreman believes they can make with a fucking cabbage and make eggs. I don't even know. So Red and Chuck's goal is to get out, and they get an object that looks like an egg, which works. And Foreman just gets trapped in his own contraption. This was an episode for certain. Don't actually hate it that much. Episode 9, Cave Pig. The pigs find a frozen artifact, which is just a pig from the old times. However, the ice starts melting and he is now got out. Chef Pig is also involved. Let's go! Chef Pig's plan is to lure the cave pig with some delicate cupcake. However, this backfires because King Pig decides on getting all of them. Now they both get frozen and Cave Pig becomes king. I love this episode way too much. Episode 10, Joy to the Pigs. Second Christmas episode. It is a usual day, but King Pig is being an asshole. So it turns out Parents of Santa starts being Mr. Beast, and everyone except King Pig gets a present. So now he's Soda. Remember this dog toy, it becomes a later episode. The lesson here is pretty obvious. Treat everyone with respect. I enjoyed it. Middle bottom. Episode 11, Dogzilla. Didn't take long for the dog toy to become the center of an episode. It is presented as a gift to King Pig. However, it terrifies him, and now it's treated like a natural disaster. There's even news broadcasts about it. King Pig goes to Corporal, who decides to go nuclear on it. Even the gnome attacks. And then they nuke basically all of Pig City, but they destroyed it. Then they launch it to an actual Godzilla-like creature. This episode is great, man. I love how something extremely minor terrifies the entire city. Top of the list. Episode 12, Boulder Bro. Chuck has become so lonely, he makes up a friend for himself. Then he falls to hell, so the Blues decide to get him back. Yeah, that's the episode. I don't really care about this one. Kinda just middling. Episode 13, Chuck Mania. So remember when I said to remember Chuck's ego? Yeah, this is what I was talking about. So Foreman has a new plan. Get pigs pretending to be his fans to help him get eggs, which quickly derails as Chuck just takes the eggs with his fans. Now there's a literal talk show about Chuck, and Foreman still wants the eggs, so he schemes to get them, but it doesn't work out. However, Red appears and takes over the show and takes the eggs back, so everyone switches sides. I love this episode for no reason. The fact Foreman fails because Chuck is popular says it all. This is my second favorite episode of this season. Episode 14, Not Without My Helmet. Back at Corporal once again, he basically loses his helmet to the bird. He tries to lead, but but everyone just makes fun of him. He even gets kicked out of King Pig's castle. So he's pretty sad, then a hallucination of himself tells him to beat the birds and get his helmet back, which he does pretty easily. Then he doesn't take the egg. This one is just a nice episode. Episode 15, Mona Lisa. Chuck's loneliness has taken him over as he's taking a date with something inanimate, and he pretends to be the waiter as well, which somehow causes mild chaos. Then he creates one of the circles of hell. The chaos caused here is the highlight for sure, but otherwise unfairly boring. Episode 16, Sir Bomb of Camelot. Welcome to prison in the 13th century! Bomb participates in a jousting tournament, which is probably just for pigs. Then it's a battle of who can win. However, the prize is just King Pig himself. Just uninteresting. Episode 17, Bearded Ambition. King Pig looks at some people before him who've all had beards. So Professor Big makes a beard syrup, which works out until all of the side effects from having a long beard show up. So King Pig just decides to remove everyone's beard, and he decides to continue the cycle. I think this one deserves a medal. Episode 18, Cold Justice. Hockey exists. Does this mean Canadians do as well? Matilda sneaks into a hockey match with only pigs, with the LeBron James of hockey. So the other team gets out the big guns and attack hockey guy. Seriously, this would be a crime. A, you're intentionally trying to rig a game in your favor, and B, battery. So Matilda involves herself into the game and beats everyone. Yeah, I didn't hate nor like this one. Episode 19, Slow the Shock Down. Matilda again. However, Chuck decides to do some speed running, which interferes with Matilda's garden. So Matilda tells him to slow down. However, he slows down to essentially 0.001 speed act, which becomes problematic when the pigs take the eggs and Chuck is too busy doing the garden. Then he gets the eggs in 0.1 second. Good episode because I just like the pigs getting close. Episode 20, Brutal vs. Brutal. Chuck came in and he accidentally destroys something, in which the big guy destroys his thing. So both start training really hard. Their dedication is appreciated. So now the battle begins. However, both parties are exhausted completely from their training and fail to actually fight. The audience then starts fighting. I really enjoy this one. It's just a good episode. Top 3 of all time. Episode 21, Eating Out. I find it interesting how Matilda here cooks literally everything. So anyways, Red, Chuck, and Bob end up with no food and have to scavenge for some. Matilda is just in Hawaii, so the 3 Borbs decide to steal food from the pigs. Then they become spies. Now it's just a duel to get the food and blows up. Red actually manages to get something and they attempt to close the gates, but escape. Then Matilda just steals it for herself. You absolute piece of shit! Okay, but fine enough besides that outburst. Episode 22, The Great Escape. Some of the pigs manage to get an egg. However, Red busts in and King Pig goes for an emergency FBI agent. All the safety measures are used. However, King Pig ditches it out of there. But Red keeps appearing out of nowhere. This just goes everywhere. Eventually, they get a secret bunker where they can't get out of. However, Red somehow got the egg back. King Pig presses some buttons and sends it to Mars. This is my favorite episode. Every quick event happens so fast and it goes all over the place. They probably had fun writing this in the writing room. This is a top tier episode. Episode 23, Sleep Like a Hog. Everyone is sleeping, however, King Pig can't. Very relatable, I must say. The Professor and Corporal are there. Corporal wants to use the hammer. Professor denies him every time though. First idea, use ambience, which King Pig destroys. Second idea, sing that one sleeping song, which doesn't work means everyone is being too loud. Also, that's the opera guy, I think. Nice to see him. Third idea, use magic substances, which, yeah, act like D-rugs. Makes King Pig believe he's eating eggs, and then it starts to become a bad trip. But Professor Pig finally decides to hit him with the hammer. This episode is way too good for what it is. Episode 24, Bombina. Bomb fights a female bird like him. However, he's being tricked by the pigs for making it as a ploy to get the eggs. Then they nuke themselves and reveal the whole operation being fake. Corporal also got the eggs, but Bomb double tricks them by making a fake pig that's a bomb. Neat enough. Episode 25, Pig Possessed. Witches exist. Feels unsurprising from the turns this series has done. But King Pig accidentally gets possessed, or at least it seems like it. So they do an exorcism on him. And then all the exorcists set fire on their hoodies or whatever. It's just chaos. But then the witch pig comes back and turns out King Pig was choking this entire time. Yeah, that was a good episode. Episode 26, Epic Sax Off. Okay, I did call one of the episodes a saxophone episode. Little did everyone know there'd be an actual saxophone episode. Matilda likes the saxophone, and other dude also do saxophone. So it becomes a competition about one-upping each other. The other guy eventually just has everything on his end break because of one screw. Anyways, Matilda continues his saxophone. That was the episode, and the final one of season 2. That was much faster. See? We're almost done with the show. Almost. Just one more season. Here we go into season 3. Episode 1, Royal Heist. King Pig finds a cool egg which he wants, but some random rich pig takes it. So King Pig decides on doing a heist with 2 minion pigs. Then they get caught and emergency protocol is done. The heist works out, however, then it turns out everyone has one of those things, so it was useless. Not much else to say. Episode 2, Bad Hair Day. Chuck wakes up once again, but his hair looks like he's over 300 years old. So he starts acting like he's elderly. Oh yeah, also the pigs get the eggs for the millionth time. However, Chuck cannot act at all. So it turns out it was all done by the blues in which Chuck trolls him back. This one aside. Episode 3, Goldie Trotters. A fairy tale episode? Interesting concept. I think this is referencing some story, but I'm not sure what it is. King Pig is bored the entire time until the spook parts come in. Yeah, I put this at the bottom. It really just doesn't entice me at all. Episode 5, Porcula. Third and final spooky Halloween episode. We basically get Dracula if he was a pig. Bubbles again exists because his entire purpose is to be a Halloween protagonist. He gets attacked by Porcula, who just fails every time. Then Full Moon turns everyone into werepigs. So yeah, that was pretty middle of the road. Episode 6, Didgeridoo. Chuck finds what was mentioned in the title, so he decides to show it off to the Blues and Bomb, but Bomb does it better. Chuck gets fish through his shitty singing, which he uses to screw over Bomb, but it goes them over. Then he decides to bomb it, which makes Bomb look even cooler, so he repeats the cycle with another instrument. Then he eats it and Bomb uses it as a thing. I really have nothing to say, but I like this one. Episode 7, The Portrait. So King Pig notices that a bunch of his ancestors had cool portraits, so he decides that he should have one as well. They make a scene for the portrait and all. Foreman is also here. However, every picture they do is really stupid and goofs up somehow. And the final picture is still so dumb, I love it. Top 10 episode, the way every picture just fails somehow is golden. Episode 8, Fix It. Chuck the Goober fakes a slingshot, so he attempts to fix it. Terrence is also here, so Chuck attempts a multitude of ways, which all fail. The Gnome's also here. Terrence once again teleports, so we now see things through Terrence's eyes, quite literally. So after a while of getting destroyed, Chuck gets beaten by Terrence just fixing it. I like this one. Episode 9, Age Rage. Professor makes an aging potion, which Corporal steals, getting slappy-go-lucky vibes from this, so he devises an actually genius plan to use it against the birds to turn them old and too weak to fight. They then celebrate a bit too hard and turn themselves old, and take not the eggs. I don't find this one funny, and I think it's a bit dumb to have 2 age-related episodes in one season, but possessions matter. Episode 10, Catching the Blues. Furman devises a plan to take out the Blues and get the eggs, but the Blues plan some trolling, so it's just the two parties attempting to out-bamboozle each other, which fails to work in Furman's favor. This one is a bottom middle. Episode 11, Last Tree Standing. The final Christmas episode, so the birds require a Christmas tree, similar with the pigs since theirs is really crappy. So the birds decorate the one they have, however the pigs yoink it. This moment is probably one of my favorites from this show. Chuck, still on the tree, decides to use the thing the top tower is connected to as a lasso, which launches everything into the air. Tree decorations land conveniently on the tree. This is without my doubt my favorite episode of season 3. It is a really nice episode. The tree kidnapping is great. King Pig actually giving something to Chuck is great. Overall, I really enjoyed this episode. Episode 12, Happy Hippie. Matilda tries to get Brad to cool down and get less angry. And yeah, he keeps getting angry. I don't really care about this episode that much, nor have much to say. Episode 13, Mind the Pony. 2 pigs got eggs, but are being chased by Chuck and Bomb, and cause major destruction in Pig City. Corporal gets help through a robot. It works out in Chuck's and Bomb's favor when it comes to the eggs, however they are stuck with a bunch of armored pigs. Then Bomb blows up, and Corporal breaks some guy's toy. Then they get arrested and charged, so they're forced to fix literally all the damage they've caused. I like me, get funny thumb button. Episode 14, Robotilda. The pigs trick Matilda, replacing herself with a robot duplicate controlled by pigs. Then Matilda actually starts helping the pigs, so the robot version of Matilda has to help the birds. Matilda's area ends up having a party, but she notices the robot having the eggs. I don't really have anything to say. Yes, the idea is cool and execution isn't bad. Episode 15, King of the Ring. Sports of course exist in this universe. The intro is literally just King Pig having fun, so he decides he should attempt to do it. I see his confidence is quite high, however he doesn't manage to beat the big guy. In fact, he just pisses him off. Then King Pig gets an actual toy based off him failing severely. This episode isn't half bad for being an Angry Birds show. Middle of the literal row. Episode 16, Spaced Out. Chuck scares himself himself over a book about aliens he's reading, which isn't helped by the blues. Chuck eventually attempts to hunt them, which succeeds. However, he finds out it's just the blues. Then some actual aliens abduct Red, which means that aliens in this universe exist, but maybe I'm stupid and it's just the pigs. I really don't have much to say about this one. And coincidentally, I started accidentally playing Geometry Dash at this moment. Episode 17, Battling Butlers. King Pig has to decide between his old or new butler. The old being calmer and the new being, I guess you'd say, hardcore. It eventually just ends up in both becoming janitors. That was the episode and I don't have much to say. Yippee! Episode 18, Exhaustion. Just like how I'm exhausted from editing this entire video. God, Pig get eggs. So, Chuck intervenes in getting them back even though Bomb does nothing. The eggs seem to be weirdly solid. However, Chuck thinks the eggs got destroyed, but then he sees eggs again. Multiple, in fact. So it turns out this was all an elaborate trolling scheme which Chuck involved himself into accidentally. But then he goes insane. There's nothing that said this should have been good, but yet this somehow lands in the top 10. Chuck Lurie goes insane over fake eggs. Episode 19, Short and Special. One of the ones I remember the most. Plot is simple. Small guy wants to go into roller coaster, but there's a height limit for safety purposes, I guess. So it's all about just him trying to get onto the roller coaster. A cartoon bum lets him in. This is somehow in the top 10 because I have that much nostalgia. Cry about it in the comments below. Episode 20, Horcus Porcus. Magic guy! I'm sorry anyways. Guy run magic tricks with King Pig. He teleports takeaway, but King Pig decides to go into the teleporter himself, which teleports him to who knows where. So he attempts to teleport him back somehow, in which he causes a vortex which sucks in everyone on the rope. However, King Pig reappears and sees the cake and eats it for himself, so Magic Guy teleports away. This confirms magic exists in this universe, though it really isn't that surprising. It's a fun episode. Episode 21, Romance in a Bottle. King Pig partying, in which his bottle goes to where Matilda is located and she sends something over to King Pig's location. So this turns into the two accidentally communicating without being right amongst themselves. Since they don't realize who they were talking to, this goes wrong. I don't know how to talk anymore. I've lost a dictionary of words. Episode 22, The Butler did it. Foreman and King Pig watch a detective movie where the butler's a criminal. However, the footage dies, so Foreman decides to make the scene from the movie himself. King Pig, however, is terrible at solving the crime. Foreman tries to make it obvious, but King Pig is as stupid as a rock. So the police think there was an actual crime and King Pig incriminates himself. Good episode. I really like King Pig's stupidity. Episode 23, Stalker. King Pig requests a hot dog. However, he makes a mess, which Hot Dog Guy does not like. So he starts stalking King Pig. He appears everywhere. Literally. King Pig is literally terrified of him, to the point where he evades from him in a wheel cart thing. Then it turns out all he wanted to do was just clean him up. This was a really goofy episode, but I like it. Episode 24, Photo Chuck. Matilda wants to make photos, but Chuck interrupts them by running. So that pisses Matilda off. This happens every time, by the way, even when he tries to make an apology photo. I personally don't really enjoy it, but I don't think it's a terrible episode. Episode 25, Bacon. It is Chef Pig again! And food is being created. King Pig tries out Chef Pig's and hates it. Then he prefers to offer people's food. So it became a cooking competition. However, Chef Pig cheats, so he finishes his cake, but the upper dude wins Pig's favor. Chef Pig then goes into the bread corner. A good episode. Give it Chef Pig out of 10. Episode 26, Toy Hoggers. We've done it. We're at the final episode of the show. Well, anyways, King Pig has his bear plush break, so Foreman tells him to get a new one. However, now he's haunted by the odd plush, which Terrence now has. So Foreman gets everything onto this case. Terrence can't accept anything, to a point where King Pig is willing to give away his crown. So they decide to give him the Terrence movie plush, which works. If you can't tell, this was made right before the movie happens, which I'll let you decide your own opinion on that. But honestly, this is my second favorite, and a good ending for the show, in my opinion. So yeah, great position. Holy hell, we're done with this show. So this was a mixed ending season for me. I liked some episodes, I didn't like others. So that's this entire show in a nutshell. Well, we have 2 sections left, so let's begin on the second last. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the top 5 best and worst episode list. And I'm not sure if the drop of the song has happened yet, so I'm going to start relaying. Starting with the worst, the 5th worst is Full Metal Chuck. Guess what? Including 2 irritating characters makes an episode not good. The 4th worst is Gardening with Terrence. It is very boring. The 3rd worst is Sink or Swim. Boringness and unfunniness combo doesn't work out. The 2nd worst is Goldie Trudgers. I'm repeating myself, boringer. And the worst episode is Do As I Say. Having a terrible joke and being annoying isn't a good combo. Now for the best. 5th best is Chucked Out. If you've been paying attention, Chuck episodes are usually rank high and this one has a good good plot. Fourth best is Piggies from the Deep. Nostalgia carries a bit, but I enjoyed this one for being an episode. Third best is Toy Hoggers, the final episode of the show, and it's good for being an ending. Second best is The Great Escape. It goes everywhere and it got a chase scene. Who doesn't like that? And the best one is Let's Resetting! Good ending, basically all the characters appear somewhere overall good. Thanks for everyone coming to my talking video. So conclusion, what is my opinion on this goofy show? It's good for an Angry Birds show. I'm aware that there's a lot of shows and like 2 movies on Angry Birds, but I did this one because I have the most memories from this one. Alright, now for regular videos to come back, roll intro!